everyone. I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. You are here with me today to learn some important points about this resume. And this resume I've mentioned for the reason. Now, what's that reason and how it's going to be very important, and all the significant details or the important and needed details for placements will be discussed in today's session. Let's get started. Now, during placements time season, maybe students are so much busy with, they are, here and there, run here and there, carrying their resume or CV, curriculum vitae or vitae. Right, when they have to prepare the resume or curriculum vitae, they will have to do some homework, right? So now, what is this resume and why is it so important for placements? And any student, and could be a student who is going to appear for the placement drive or any kind of job. He could be a senior or a junior or a senior professional or an upcoming graduate or a professional or would be professional and a software engineer. Whoever he is or she is, he or she needs to carry this one letter, and that letter occupies a very important place in today's professional stream. So, from all different streams of life or profession, this particular resume is mandatory. If I have to say it in one word, this is a key. It's a key link, I would say. So, I would like to highlight this kind of concept in all the sessions or the upcoming sessions that we are going to have part of this placements concepts. So, it could be, maybe a software engineer, a hardware engineer, or a teacher, or a boss, or a manager, or anyone who is going to apply for any, a job that he or she is interested in. Needs to carry this one letter, and that is resume. And why does this occupy such a significant role in today's profession? Because it is almost the biodata of a person, of an interviewee who is going to apply or who is interested in taking up that particular profession. It's like, your contact information, or it's like your details, it's like, your telephone directory is there, right? And it's just like your professional directory where everybody would see and try to, kind of like go through this kind of letter, one letter, or could be two letters or three letters, pages, right? So maybe, 4 or 5 pages. Resume, we see all these types of resume. And now, should you limit that to 1 page or two pages, or what's the ideal number? All that will be discussed in today's session, don't worry. But then, so whoever carries this, resume is going to be looked at or evaluated or scrutinized by his or her performance, right? So in that way, you will have to kind of like prepare for this resume, hard. Well, you have to work hard. You need to work out. You need to write very well, very efficiently, and very precisely. If you have to, present your conduct, your skills, or your professional abilities, or your professional requirements for any job that you are going to, apply for. So that is like it's like an entry card for your professional life. Before you can really start your career, you can just give this and get the ability, or get that kind of impression about your profession or career. Only possibly because of this resume or curriculum vitae or vita. Right now, many engineering students they ask me, or no, ask many other teachers, like, "Ma'am, how do we have to prepare our resume, and what are some required essential traits that one need to carry?" So not only one session that we will be is enough for our topic today, but we will be doing, or we will be touching, or we will be discussing regard this resume, curriculum vitae, or a cover letter, and all other correspondent concepts, gradually in one, in many sessions. And this session is not only this session that you will get the overall information about this resume, because we need to condense it to some time. Right. For that reason, let's discuss a few points about this resume. So basically, as I put up on the slide, you can see and understand it's a key link in the recruitment chain. It's a key, point, or a kind of like a hold one can really take control, of your academic details, or kind of like presentation, or whatever you have, your worth credits. They can take control of all that for your good, only if they can really go through this resume. And why did I use the word taking control of it? Taking control in terms of decision, taking control in terms of selecting you for that particular job. So if you have to do or get selected for that particular job, then one can really take about a wonderful decision, with regard to your kind of like prospectus, only with the help of your resume. And if you cannot sketch your resume in the way that you need to do it, then nobody can help, because you are giving this entry like for people to enter, like for them to see through your career, or to see through your academic profile. So if you don't come up with an interesting resume or this curriculum vitae, then definitely you won't be able to win their hearts and minds, and even then, like, you aspire for a good job. So that's very mandatory. Along with this interview, right, you need to do all that. So this resume is a key link in the recruitment process. So this is the reason why we put up this on the screen. And it's not only a selection tool to shortlist applicants, but also serves as a base document for your future employer. So it's not only, so let me put this in a nutshell. This means if you submit your resume like to your boss, for example, and it's not only that tool for him to select based on your academic profile, but also to estimate you or underestimate you, or to take any decisions in future, even after recruiting you for that job, or to have a basic impression about you, or to have some basic information about your professional background and professional credits. This one will help them to decide upon that. So it's like you are giving your academic profile card to that person, so that he can really count on you based on the information that you provide. So that is the significance of your kind of this resume or curriculum vitae. Right. Recruiters find it easier to deal with a standardized format of presenting candidate data. They find it easier because, like, you follow certain pattern which is very formal and standardized way of presenting your data. So it's easier for them to narrow down the information that you provide. And some candidates, what do? They give like lots and lots of information, that their resumes are loaded with so much of information and so much of ambiguous statements written over there, or unnecessary highlights will be found there, and unnecessary details and insignificant details were also mentioned in today's resume resume or this curriculum vitae. So which is why you have to pay more attention to draw or sketch your own resume. Right. Next, copies of your resume will be shared across multiple managers in the hiring process or to be sent as an attachment on email. So this resume which you provide, basically, will be an added advantage to you, because even the rest of the team members or the panel members who would like to see or go through your resume can easily go through, because it will be very handy in case you provide them in the form of copies. Also, you can have a soft copy as an email, right? In case if they ask you to apply online mode, right? So if you have to apply online, then you can send them your soft copy, and that will be very easier for you. And also and that will remain as that can be preserved for a later use also, because that kind of resume remains in the inbox, whereas this hard copies may get lost. So that's also another advantage through, because with this soft copy. Next, now let me discuss you what is this one page resume. Why do you have to worry about it? And why is this called a one-page resume? Are there not pages in your resume? Yes, there could be. And or is it like you're telling them you have very limited information? No, of course not. But you are condensing it. But are you telling them that there is only a stipulated or number for this resume? No, you're not telling them. But indirectly, what you're trying to show them is like, the kind of it's in a kind of prissy writing, what we feel it sometimes, language people, where we see that how best you can really express yourself in a nutshell. It's like, not beating around the bush, talking about unnecessary details about your academic life, but then like you are trying to limit it to a few lines, and you are projecting and producing the number of achievements or score that you have had already in your academic life. So part of that you will carry all that. So now, like, we will be looking at how best you could really show and display. And again, I tell you, resume is one of these that is also part of this writing skills. So we emphasize, right? So in today's world, we say writing skill is very important, and how you write about the information that you really want to convey and communicate, again, is dependent on how well you write. So you need to habituate this kind of writing skill. It's not only useful for your resume writing, but also useful for other purposes. Like you have to write some essay, right? And you have to write your minutes. For example, you're already working as a person in your a company, as a team leader, or could be an important employee, wherein your boss asked you for this minutes of that meeting, and you have to write it. And how do you write it in case you do not know how to present your data, right? So what you do is you are trying to write a very effective minutes of meeting, and this shows you again and once again the ability in terms of writing skills. So writing skills is always useful for your good. Now, coming back to the point I'm trying to say is resume is is related to this writing skills, because how best you can really project or produce the information that you intend to put before the readers or the listeners, right? So generally in your physical, you submit physical copies, right? So one page works better for these hiring managers. My dear listeners, don't always take more number of pages and trouble them, because nobody likes to read more number of pages or information. They'd like to have just in a nutshell, where they can sit and I go through the information, right? So that really can save their time too, in case you have a one page resume. Next, so instead of hiring managers, then they say, and even the hiring managers there, then they can staple, you can just keep it pages together, and it's like, for example, you don't have to staple them, because you will not have more than one page there, because more than one page, and so you don't have to struggle with all this stapling and all. And even for a person to go through, it will be very handy and easy. So instead of keeping multiple pages together, you can carry one page very easily anywhere. That is one of the points that I want to discuss. And secondly, for if you have to send email attachment, they prefer to read, absorb information from the first page itself, than having scroll down. See, you put your legs or feet in somebody's shoes, and see if you have to read a 5 or 6 page document, and how do you feel? Obviously you don't feel good, right? So what do you do? You sit and flip. You don't flip through pages or scroll down the pages. Instead, you read only first page. Why is it like that? Because humans' tendency is like that. Until and unless it is mandatory, until and unless they need, or you need that particular information, definitely you will read, of course, but otherwise it's not necessary for them to go through your resume, even if you have 3 or 4, 5 pages, right? So you keep your information limited to one page, right? And also for your software, it is the same. Next, simply to understand, this increases what one page resume increases your chances of getting through the first stage. So there is a chance of for getting, because that really quickens the process, and they get so immersed and impressed, and obviously you can be selected for that. Right. And also you have to draft for that, right? Before you bring out the final copy of your resume, like I said in the beginning, you have to work out some time for drafting your resume. You have to set, you have to draft, you have to go through all these stages, right? So for your first draft, you have to go through certain steps. Refer to it, go through, write down everything to make a long master document. First, like for example, write down everything to make a long, you put your information in the beginning, then you can really edit and draft, redraft, and finally bring out the final outcome, right? And the desired draft that you would like to publish it as the final one. So for that, you have to pour down all the information, put down, jot down, document that in your rough draft, and see how you can really list them. For example, like once you put all your credits or list out all your accomplishments and experiences in detail, then you can make the shift from comprehensiveness to relevance. So try to do this kind of this procedure, where you can make the shift from comprehensiveness, whether how understanding it is, or like how understandable the content it is, and or it's like better than that, like you can really try to narrow it down and put it in a nutshell, and try to put in the information that is more relevant to the things that are asked, instead of giving unnecessary information, instead of giving irrelevant information. Try to write precisely and talk only the relevant things, right? And that is one thing you have to take notice of. And next, cut out or compress sections that are not relevant to the job you're applying for. Sometimes, see, for example, let me give you an example so that will make you understand better. For example, I am applying for an executive engineer, right, or some kind of like software engineer. Okay, so I write all that information related to that. And in addition to that, in the past, I also did some courses in other fields or areas or some other specialization certifications, right? And you feel, you know that they are irrelevant and they are not related to the job that you are applying for, but because to show that you have so much accomplished, you will try to bring in the information there. So this will make completely an irrelevant stuff in the resume. It's a time waste stuff for them to read, and it's a time waste, thing for you to when you are compiling or writing your resume. So always categorize and see through that draft of how you try to put the information, unnecessary and necessary details. So cut down and only compress all the sections needed and important for the person to go through. Right. Next, all additional information can be part of your LinkedIn profile. You must be wondering then, no, I've done so many certifications related to that. So where do I keep all that? Because I achieved a lot and I have so many accomplishments. Now there is a good news for you. You don't have to worry about it. You can put that in LinkedIn profile, right? They can go through it. It's a separate link or it's a separate profile you can maintain in social media, where you can put in that link to your boss or hiring manager, which the recruiter will refer to. So that is a nice way of bringing out your credits and information. So some you can just tell the person in a one page resume, right, or in one place you can really put in, and the rest you can say, sir, I also have LinkedIn account, please have an access to that and try to go through my profile. So you can very politely and nicely you can convey that to him, so that for example, if your one page resume arrests and attracts his attention, then definitely he likes to go to your LinkedIn profile to check in for more additional credentials that you have had already. So that is how you have to organize, and that is how you have to present yourself when you take or prepare resume when you are applying for any job. Next, you have limited space in a one page resume, definitely. So you don't think that you have kind of like space will not be sufficient. Definitely it can be sufficient. Do one thing. At the most, if you're unable to adjust everything in one page, like as we are talking about a one page resume, but then you can add in only in some exceptional cases try to carry two, but where the second page only half information is given, like it goes around, like it runs into 1.5 page, but then not more than that. So at the most 1.5 page, otherwise keep it a single profile. So, and keep it crisp and readable. Your resume should be reader friendly, so that, and also when customers or when the viewers or the readers or the people who are hiring you go through that should be reader friendly, very nicely, expressing yourself, nice vocabulary. Don't use jargons and unnecessary expressions that will waste your words and time, because where you can give information about your achievements, but if you use a very jargon, a long lengthy jargon, and that occupies your space, and then you may not be able to give full-fledged information about your academic profile. So that is the reason. Don't use indirect jargons and the kind of over done cliches and all that. So try to keep it simple so that it is very crisp and readable. Next, have a minimum margin of kind of like 0.5 and a minimum font size of 11. These are ideal for font and physical like ideal format. You can really essential characteristics of any but good format. In case if you there is no hard and fast rule that you have to stick to this particular one, but it is an ideal one. Good if you can follow. Like a minimum font size, don't keep it a maximum font, large font. That will throw a very bad light on it, because like that looks very awkward, and that doesn't look good. Right. And common font, like either go for this Arial or Georgia, and Times New Roman. Do not go for decorative font where they cannot understand. So like Embosium style, right? Some fonts are available right in your Microsoft. Don't try with them, and this is not going to be a decorative piece where they will keep it in showroom and get entertained. But this is for your. Try to make it so simple, direct, precise, useful, crisp, readable, very much relevant content. And don't go for extra kind of decoration where everybody likes to read through, right? So that is one thing. Include your email and contact in the header with your name, and also give your contact details are very important. Your name, email, contact number. So these are very much needed. In case you forget them, then they may not be able to contact you. So these are mandatory, these are required. Next, you can give regarding this again when we are talking about this physical points, like how you can really prepare your resume. Okay, physical perspectives, or the kind of information that you have to. The flesh of your resume should be like this. It's like you can go for this reasonable line spacing, and of course there is no hard and fast rule that you have to give only 1.5 or 1.00. But what you can do is just see how you can arrange, and when you are trying to finally like publish it or take a print of it, just see how it is appearing, and then go for this reasonable line spacing and bullet points that cover at least half of each line, and make sure you have this bullet points. For them it is very easy to go through you once you carry this. Not so, and it gives a kind of a right balance between content and white spaces, right? This gives a neat sketch of your information on this white paper. So with these bullet points are very important. And now save your resume as a PDF with your own name, and this is also mandatory, because many times students say that how they lost and their settings are changed. So you can try this with your own name, and and to ensure standardization and searchability, so that you can search it very easily for the time because if this is done in the last moment, in the 11th hour, and you may not be able to find it, so save that in your own name. Right. Next, now what is this cream on top? So let me share my views about this. Generally, the readers or hiring managers would like to, or bosses would like to, or the interviewers, whoever you are going, okay, wherever you are working, so they would like to go through your resume, and something that they look for is crisp, something cream of your information, of your accomplishments. So we are trained, for example, like they say, to read from top to bottom and expect a headline says one important hiring manager, and keep all that important stuff at the beginning. So, and in case what you do is, if you do not keep all that important stuff, then it will be a problem for you in case they don't it's like how they are able to manage some kind of information that really they're not really interested in, because you always try to give unimportant information, and you try to leave all the important information in the last section. Please, my dear students, or the interviewees, whoever are going to learn this resume and going to write for the later use, try to keep the cream of your information, of your details at the top, at the beginning. And also your resume should follow this rule. Don't forget to remember that your professional experience should come before the academic section. So first, write. You have to write in a hierarchy, and they have this kind of, it's like you try to put your professional information at the top, so that they can go through your professional information and then can refer to academic section. So for example, now let me give you an example how you can really write this understand this cream on top. So for example, like you have got very rich experience, professional experience, where you achieved many projects for the company, and all that, many awards and rewards in your professions. So you can, what you can do is like select all that information and keep that at the top or at the beginning, and then you can talk about later years of your experience in the next section. So the best part of it, it's like the topmost layer of the food that you have. It's this, the tastier part of your food should go in the beginning. So that means an interesting and useful part of this information should be put in the resume at the beginning. That is very important. Next, your bullet point should contain metrics to have the desired impact. Make sure you follow this metrics also, and using numbers. Okay, using numbers helps you focus on highlighting achievements. This is very important. So that will it's like you are giving them account of your accomplishments and achievements. So you give, and that gives also a usable metric for the recruiter to separate you, to segregate from the rest of the employees. So they know how many projects you have done, and they would know how many it's like how many tasks that you have really won, and all that. When you number it, then definitely they'll be able to understand it. So my dear people and my dear listeners, make sure you highlight that with number. Next, also this is very important, provide evidences to support your claims. Do not just write it in the air, and support that with the necessary examples. Like for example, I achieved the project for that, and you have necessary, and also you have the certification on that, and you have relevant it's like you've been recognized by that particular company for that project that you have won, and you claim before the reward and some insight. Like anything that you want to support that with the relevant information. Like provide, give useful and evidences to support your claims. Next, list out the projects you have secured. This is very important. Also, you can highlight your internships in case you have. List out the projects you have secured, and the knowledge you have secured in various projects would help the evaluators to decide on your role. This is very important. The knowledge, you talk about your projects, you talk about your internships, you talk about some important tasks that you have had already, and talk about them, then that will reveal your information, that you are so much informed person of that particular area or project that you have done. So the knowledge you have secured in different projects can really help them, the managers or evaluators, to decide on your role. For example, like if you have a very good command and useful like necessary knowledge in that particular project, and you display that, and they will understand which role you can be assigned to. So they will understand how much you can get. And also when you are appearing for the interview, you can talk about this project, and in case you are trying to explain them at the time of interview, also highlight that in your resume, and also talk about those like projects and internship, other things in your interview. That will help them realize that you are very confident and you are very knowledgeable and informative of that subject. Now, let us understand some types of resumes. So there are different formats, there are different patterns of resume. So how do you know which one to follow? But before you decide on which one to follow, you can really think about the types of resumes you have, right? The types of resumes you can really go for. Like, so you should know chronological resume is one such type. So now, what is this chronological resume, my dear viewers? So you have to understand, like, chronological resume and other resumes are there, which we will be discussing in the later slides. Now this chronological resume type is also a good one, wherein it is all about, it's a best, and I'm not trying to say it is best in its own way, right? And the others are also best in their own presentations, but I'll help you how to choose the best once I discuss all this. So chronological resume is one such type. So standard, and this is a traditional format, it's a standard one generally. Like, usually a majority of people, or candidates would like to go for this kind of chronological resume. So standard and traditional format. And another highlight of this resume is like highlighting a strong work history through the ranks of the same company. Highlighting a strong work history through the ranks of the same company. You can really highlight the kind of strong work history you have, and the rank that you held, and the number of years you have that. Or else, like, if you're a novice, employee or a beginner, and what you can do is, like, you can highlight, like I said, your projects or internships, or if you're already a working professional, right? So and you are just looking for another company that offers you better advantages than the company, that already existing company where you worked in. Then you can really talk about the number of advantages that you had, and what kind of ranks you had, in terms of hierarchy, and you can really talk about all that at length in that. And this helps employers see easily what jobs a candidate held. So what kind of job you held in the past, and can be easily highlighted in this chronological resume. So that's important. Next, timeline resume. This is also this is not but then, like, this chronological order. This is also timeline resume. Is it, it talks about all, or like, past position in reverse order, starting with your most recent job. It's like in that chronological order, that is in a sequence. You'll be talking about all past history, like with the dates. You can really talk about it. But here, what you do is you bring the recent relevant job experience in the beginning, and then you put the little past information in the latter sections. So this is how a chronological resume, and this is very kind of trendy, and many employees, they follow that, and this is usual type at the same time. Because and one mistake you should avoid is, like, do not put the past history. Like, let me give an example, you will understand it well. Like, you, for example, you are applying your job in 2021, okay? So you put your the history, like 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. So instead of that, you start, maybe you started your career way back in 2015. Don't bring that 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, but start with 20, 19, 20, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. So that is the order usually you follow in a chronological resume. Next, understand about this functional resume. How you can really go understand about this functional resume. So we discussed number one, chronological. Number two, functional resume. It is a skill based resume. Functional resume is a skill based resume. So you generally you highlight all this, like first job, when, or it is all about, like, For example, like in case, like for first job, when one wants to make a major career change, like, for job hopping also, they shift continuously, right? With, successive employment gaps or a prolonged period of employment they have. So they will try to follow this functional resume. And this is all about showcasing skills and accomplishment. This will highlight your skills, and it's skill based resume. So it is showcasing skills and accomplishments, and also it shifts the focus, of capacity and potential over employment history. It is all to do, more to do with your skills, right? So it is generally a functional resume, skill based resume, where your skills are highlighted, right? And in case you have this time prolonged gaps, and like you had to shift to many other jobs, like job hopping trend you had in your in your past, then in that case also you can follow this one, where you highlight more on your displaying your skills. Next, another type of resume is like targeted resume. Targeted resume. Oh, is there any type of resume like this? Yes, my dear. Yes, you have targeted resume. So, what is this targeted resume? Targeted resume is like to target unique opportunities or chances you have. We're making a case for a specific job opening, or like you have a particular job in your mind, a particular office or company, organization you want to work. So you can really choose this kind of resume. And here you need to work. This needs more work, but the effort you will make you stand out in a crowd by showing that you're a perfect match. So you need to add some more effect. Next, tailor your resume by highlighting key skills. Tailor your resume by highlighting key skills. Like tailor it, suit that by highlighting very important key skills, experience, and work that you have done that is most relevant to the job you're applying for. So what you do is tailor your resume by highlighting key skills, experience, and work that you have done that is most relevant you're applying for. So highlight that which you have done. Only key skills, not all skills in the term. Because for example, if you want to work in it's like Tata Motors or like any other company, Infosys, you try to use for a mechanical engineer. That's the first example I said. And for any other Infosys or any other company, just a random number I gave, but could be any good company. Try to talk about the relevant things related to that one. Highlight them. So this is the target resume. Or you want to work in a kind of like a organization where that gives more importance to kind of like manufacturing of some products. So highlight those key skills, highlight and relevant experience and work. So this is very targeted, and it is a targeted resume. So that's important. Next, hybrid resume. See, so far we've seen chronological, so far we have seen functional, that is skill based, and also we saw this targeted resume. 3 we've seen so far, and the fourth one is hybrid resume. What is this hybrid resume? So it's like some candidates, they choose to combine the above 2 formats in hybrid, like the first 2, like chronological or functional or targeted. So what they do is they choose to combine both. Sometimes they mix of both. First they list their skills and then experience. Like in a chronological resume, what you do is you highlight your experience, but in a skill based functional resume, you talk about your skills. But here in this hybrid, you try to have a mix and match of both. And then first list your skills, you have to list your skills and then experience. Then move to your basic employment history. So, and this will help you, helps in highlighting your skills, at the same time providing a perfect work your work, job or employment history. So this will act very well in this context, right? Next, another resume is there. It is called the capabilities resume. We've seen chronological, hybrid, targeted, functional. Now this is another resume that you can really talk about it. It's a capabilities resume. So it is a mini resume that is designed for any like internal job or for networking purposes. So this is the purpose in case if you want to go for this capabilities resume. So where you try to focus more on a few capabilities that are more important to the internal assignment or that you have chosen for it. So this is also one type. Right. Now, which is right for me? If this is the question after listening to all these types of resume, then you have to understand. Now, how do you arrive at your decision? Like how you can really think about it, which one to go. So what you can do is like like if we combine all the styles, it will be combine all the styles of resumes, types of resume. It will be more, misleading and confusing. So that is why what you do is like understand what is the best suitable one, like for whether it is more whether you want to highlight which part of your performance in your profession, like your work history or your skills or whatever. So based on that, try to arrive at certain objectives, career objectives, targeted position, okay, and how you can really highlight them. So along with portraying you in the marketable and attractive light, how you can really portray that in that market, like with along with portraying you in the marketable and attractive light. If this kind of information is good, at marketable and attractive light, definitely that will really help you, right? Next, sift through the details to prepare a concise and simple focus. So once you think clearly about which style to choose, depending upon the performance and the work history you have, then go through this kind of concise, precise and focused resume that really attracts their attention and mind, okay, from the word go, right from the beginning. So whatever you select, okay, do mention your name and contact details at the top along with a good persuasive cover letter. Why did I say it's persuasive? Because you're here, you're trying to convince them that you are the right person for that job. So for that reason, try to follow this. So having following or it's like listen to all the key points, or having understood or having listened to all the points that we've discussed in the session, you can definitely will be able to write a good resume in case if you want to really stand unique in your workplace. So all the best and follow all the guidelines. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.